we haven't really talked much about Bo Nickal versus Rodolfo Vieira, which is a fascinating fight on this card. There's a lot at stake. It's a fascinating style matchup as well. And quite frankly, it's a big one for Bo coming off his last fight. So there's a lot to talk to him about. And of course, he's a part of the RAF team. They've got their second show, and that, of course, is Real American Freestyle Wrestling. They had their first show in August in Cleveland, second one in his backyard at Penn State. So much to discuss with the one and only Bo Nickal. He's kind enough to join us right here and now on the program. Hello, Bo. How are you?
Doing well, Ariel. Thanks for having me on, brother.
Oh, yeah. We're always changing the look. The hair is a little different. The glasses. What is this look? What's in? Wow, even the side is a little different. It's usually like a bit of a fade there.
You like that?
Yeah, what are we doing? What's going on?
Just been training hard. No time for a haircut.
Okay, are we keeping this for the fight?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how much time I have between media and training and weight cut. So if I have a second, I might trim it up.
You're so big time, like you're the guys that like the barber comes to their house, right? Like you don't go to a barber shop.
No.
You're not that guy?
I go in. My barber Josh, he's my man. He's my main man. Walk-ins only.
Wow.
Cash. Takes care of me. He's a good dude.
Walk-ins only. So sometimes you have to wait there for like an hour for Josh.
Sometimes, yeah.
Bo Nickal ain't waiting an hour in Happy Valley. There's no way.
I don't mind.
You waltz right in there. I know it. It's all good. You're a man of the people. Okay, we'll get your fight in a moment, but let's quickly talk about Real American Freestyle Wrestling. You're a part of the broadcast team for this one. So you competed on the first one, part of the broadcast team for this one. What's your role in particular? What are you doing over there on Saturday?
Yeah, I'm super pumped. I'm going to be on the mic doing some, color, some play-by-play, and really just, trying to bring perspective to the audience of a athlete that's been there and competed and stuff. So I'm pumped. I've done some commentary in the past with Big Ten Network and some Penn State matches and different things, but this is really exciting for me just because I love the sport, and what the RAF is doing is really, really special. The first event went amazing. It was streamed on Fox Nation. It's going to be streamed there again, and it did some really, really big numbers in that first show. So we're looking to build some momentum and keep it going. And there's a lot of exciting matchups, and I'm just excited to watch some good wrestling and commentate on it a little bit.
Okay, so you, like we just said, you were a part of that first show. I believe you're featured right over there. Why did it go amazing in your opinion? First show, always a tricky one. Why did it go so well?
Yeah, I think having my experience in the UFC and seeing the professionalism and how they handle events, and then being able to compare and relate that to the RAF, it was like very professional, top notch, dialed in. For the first show, you expect a lot of hiccups, a lot of bugs and things to be worked out, and to be honest, it went very smoothly. Everybody there is, again, super professional, and I think the action and the highlights of the event spoke for themselves. There were some amazing matches and some big time stuff that was happening in the sport of wrestling. And, I think that the RAF is continuing to build momentum and signing the best wrestlers in the world and getting the best guys to compete against each other. So, a lot of exciting stuff. And, it's just exciting to see what I think is the world's, most challenging, most difficult sport be highlighted in a way that it deserves.
Okay. So this one's, you are Penn State Wrestling. This is happening at the Bryce Jordan Center, right? Which is the venue in which the team will compete in. The Penn State wrestling team will compete in, right? So you're a natural fit. Was there any talk of you competing on this card as well, or was it too close to MSG?
Yeah, obviously would have loved to compete in my hometown, home arena, and of course the RIF wanted me to be able to compete there, but 3 weeks till the fight was a little tight. I considered it, but I figured it's best to chase one rabbit at a time. So for me, the focus is MSG. It's this next fight, and I'm really pumped about that as well. But excited to be part of the broadcast team nonetheless.
Will you compete down the line? Are there plans already in place?
Yeah, 100%. I'll be competing. Again. We'll see. Maybe before the year ends. So.
Oh wow, that's soon. So you really enjoyed it.
I love it. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun just to compete. That's what I love doing. So, for me, that's the most exciting part about what I get to do is going out there and putting it all on the line. So I felt like I I felt, to be honest, a little slow, a little sluggish. My first match in 4.5 years, but it was fun and I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed being around the whole team at RAF. Everybody was a joy to be around. So, it definitely motivated me to get back in there again and just and have fun.
Any idea how big of a deal this will be on Saturday? How many people they're expecting to attend the event?
Yeah, there's going to be for sure, thousands of people at the event. The viewership, as I mentioned on the first show, was phenomenal. It was not only a lot of new subscribers for Fox Nation, but as the event went on, the viewership kept increasing. So, that's something that you love to see, that more and more people were tuning in as the event continued. So, building on that momentum is going to be huge. And what we have, competitively is a lot of the top level guys in the world. And they introduced, a lot of names to this card that are interesting matchups. The one that I'm most excited about is Jake Varner, who is 2016 Olympic gold medalist and a teammate coach of mine at Penn State, and he's going to be wrestling Pat Downey. So it's a little bit of bad blood there between Pat and Penn State. And Varner's, very accomplished, but he hasn't competed in a long time. So it's going to be interesting. My prediction, Jake Varner by smash, however he wants. But it's going to be a fun match.
What I really want is you at Iowa. That's the scene that I want to see. Are there any plans in place? I want you back over there.
I haven't heard about any events in Iowa, but of course we did the first one in Ohio. This next one in Pennsylvania. There's been talks of Illinois, Oklahoma. So we're gonna hit all the major wrestling areas. And I don't know if Iowa has anybody for me to compete against, but maybe we can go put the Brands brothers 2 against 1. I'll take the coaches out.
Yes. Okay. So we spoke to you after the Iowa fight, the UFC fight back in May. And again, you handled it so well. Like, you said all the right things. You handled it so well. I think everyone wanted to rain on your parade, and you were just like, I've been here before and I'll be back. Can you describe, so that was 5 or so months ago now. What have the last 5 months been like for you, and how have you changed as a fighter in light of what transpired in Des Moines?
I mean, a lot of massive changes. I think that, my foundation of my mentality remains the same. It's about continuing to improve and get better and just perfect my craft as best I can. So, that foundation remains the same. But I think on a technical level, I learned so much from that fight and was able to, I think that the main thing is understanding, what does damage in a fight, what is opportunity cost, how that works in a fight. And really just shifted my mindset and perspective of, how I'm going to approach the actual competition and the action. So I felt like I learned more in that fight than I had my entire career combined previous to that. So I'm really grateful for it. And I think that at the same time, it was good for me to be humbled a little bit. Of course, I always try to remain humble on my own, but I think God has a way of humbling us as well. So for me, just getting back on the grind and locking in and staying humble, staying committed. It's just been a lot of training and really, using that as motivation, using that as something to springboard me into the future rather than something that's going to be a roadblock. So I look at that as, for me, the best thing in my career that's happened to me so far.
In retrospect, do you think you needed to be humbled?
I guess, at the end of the day, things work out the way they're supposed to. I believe that. I feel like maybe it wasn't necessarily like a humbling in an internal way, but it was more of a reality check of hey, I felt like I lost the fight because I didn't prepare well enough. And I thought I was prepared going in. So, I got beat up. So I obviously wasn't as prepared as I thought. And for me, that's a great thing. It just gives me opportunity to see what I need to work on and what I need to improve on. And so I feel grateful for it. And I feel like I approach every training session in a humble way where, I want to work and get better and learn. And I'm open to, whatever I have to do to make that work.
Did you change anything as far as training, coaches, where you trained, like any radical changes in that respect?
No radical changes on like the coaching or training end. I would say it's more so with my mindset, more so with like what I'm trying to accomplish in a fight. I feel like I was kind of going in there without like a really strong game plan and without a really strong like idea of what I was trying to do. And I feel like after that fight, it's really helped me dial in exactly what I'm trying to do within a fight. You know, within wrestling, I had what I call like a system, right? So it was like there's a game plan and steps that I have that, you know, I remind myself throughout the match, and this is what I'm trying to do. This is what I'm trying to accomplish. And I felt like going into that fight, I was just kind of like, all right, I'll figure it out, which was a little bit due to lack of experience. But, you know, getting that experience has helped me just dial things into like understanding and knowing what I'm trying to do in a fight, which it sounds like very basic and obvious, but I guess that's what I needed to learn because I've been making big improvements.
I saw when the announcement came out that Islam was fighting Jack and Valentina was fighting Zhang, we put out a tweet. I put out a tweet, and you quote tweeted it and said something to the effect of "Get me on the early prelims," which was striking, obviously, because there was once a time where I remember us talking about you not being a prelim fighter, you wanting to be a main card fighter, and so. Can I ask why you wrote that, and is this part of the humbling process that you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean a little bit of a joke.
Yes,
of course, I feel at the same time like I do feel humbled. Where coming in, I remember the specific instance you asked me, you know, if I was going to be on the prelims, and I kind of scoffed at it, like, you know, and that was a little bit in my mind. I think I was definitely arrogant, but. You know, there was a little bit of truth to that coming in my position, but at the same time, it was arrogant. So I feel like, yeah, I mean, I don't really care where I fight. Where the UFC wants to put me first fight on the card, then I'm happy to do that. And yeah, it's definitely part of this, you know, humbling, as I've said. So, you know, I don't feel like I should get anything that I don't deserve and that I didn't earn. And I want to earn everything I have. So, you know, if I'm on the prelims, then that's great. I'm pumped about it.
Where exactly are you on the card? Do you know yet?
No, I have no idea. No idea. So
do you think you'll be on the prelims?
I could be. I mean, I think that it's probably 50-50. I'll either be, you know, a prelim slot, maybe first fight on the main, but wherever I'm at, it's all good.
Yeah. How did we end up with Rodolfo Vieira? Were there other names discussed, or was it just him and then you were in?
No, I mean, this was a fight that I had talked about for a while with the UFC and with different people, and I felt like it was an exciting matchup given his credibility and his name, his accomplishments in jiu-jitsu. So, you know, they brought it to me, and I felt like after having lost the fight, I'm not really in a position that, I gotta, you know, pick and choose this or that. Like the first name they gave me, I said yes to. So it was a fight. Again, I'd already talked about it and discussed it and said yes right away.
By the way, according to Tapology, they have you listed as the third fight of the night. So I guess that is early prelims.
Let's do it.
No problems.
No problem. I don't care. I got to get out of there early. You know, I'll get to watch a few, you know, amazing fights after me and get some dinner and call it a good night.
I kind of love this fight against Rodolfo because, you know, wrestler versus grappler, sometimes that leads to some striking, you know, your ground games, albeit different ground games, will cancel each other out. I think it's a fast, and he's obviously, you know, accomplished in his world, you're accomplished in your world. I think it's a really fun matchup. I think a lot of people are into it. Do you share that sentiment?
Yeah, definitely. I feel excited about it. I think that, you know, from my view, he's a guy that presents a lot of interesting challenges. He's, I think, rounded out his game quite a bit in his last couple fights from what I've seen. So, you know, I'm definitely feeling like I'm going to get the best version of him out there, which I think all my opponents bring the best version of themselves to compete against me because I do have that big name and bring a lot of excitement. So, you know, I'm looking forward to just a great fight. And I'm, again, worked on a lot of things, so I want to showcase all of them.
Do you think that will happen? Often when we see a great wrestler go up against a great BJJ practitioner, I know he's getting up there in age a little bit and he's had some losses, But often when we see this type of matchup, the ground games cancel each other out and it becomes a striking match for the most part, like almost like a kickboxing match. Do you think that's going to happen this time around?
No, I don't think that's going to happen. Personally, I feel like, I definitely think I learned from my fights with de Ridder and Paul Craig, who are both jiu-jitsu based guys. And, I feel that for me, getting takedowns, getting on top, that's going to be a great position regardless of what this guy's skill set is of anybody that I fight. So, I feel like it's an MMA fight, right? So I want to make it an MMA fight. And that's something that I'm not going to shy away from in this one. For sure. I feel like, I would like to challenge myself on the ground a little bit.
It's interesting. Throughout your MMA career and even your UFC career, I feel like there was so much attention on you. The placement on the card, your opponent, you're undefeated, you're finishing guys in seconds. Do you kind of feel like you're flying under the radar this time around? And if so, do you like that? Is that refreshing?
Yeah, honestly, like the media stuff and really, a lot of it was brought on by myself. So no, there's no complaints on my end, but I think that I was getting a little bit burnt out by it, just because it was like the same things over and over, and it's like the same conversation every time, and it's just a lot. And of course, like with the situation that I was in, again, like a lot of it brought on by myself. It was a lot of negativity, and so kind of like separating from that a little bit over the past 5 months has been really nice. And I feel like I've gotten back to the root of like why I do this, and just the love for the game and the sport is definitely been ignited in me. So that's something that has been refreshing and exciting. And I think that, yeah, definitely feel like a little bit less attention and excitement for this fight, but that's totally okay. And it ebbs and flows, right? Like, that's just the way the world works and the way anything works. You're going to have moments that are, you're on the up, and moments that you're on the down, moments that you're neutral. And it's just part of riding the wave of life. And I think that it's honestly been nice.
To that end, I do believe there hasn't been an episode of the critically acclaimed Nickels and Dimes podcast in the last few months, right? Did you shut all that down to be 100% focused on this fight?
I'm glad you've been noticing. You've been watching out.
Well, I'm a former guest. I enjoyed it.
You're one of my favorite guests.
Thank you.
Top of all time. But yeah, that's part of it. Spending less time on that aspect, which I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the interviews and podcasting and being able to have interesting conversations with people and put out content that was hopefully helpful to the audience and help them learn and grow. But yeah, I think that my main motivator and thing that I'm excited about right now is fighting. And so, really just been spending as much time and energy on that as I can. And it's, like I said, been refreshing because it just feels a lot more pure and a lot more genuine for me.
I'd be remiss if I don't ask you about this past Saturday. What did you think of RDR losing the way in which he did to Brendan Allen?
That was rough. I mean, the first 7.5 minutes, he looked like amazing. Looked like, world top level, world championship caliber fighter. And, obviously I think after the first 7.5 minutes, went downhill a little bit with the conditioning. But I had heard a few things prior to the fight, maybe bad weight cut, maybe some illnesses. So, one fight doesn't really reflect how good you are as a person, or excuse me, as a fighter. And all that to be said, I'm sure he was disappointed in his performance. It wasn't his best performance. I think Brendan Allen looked okay. He did a good job controlling him from top position, had a couple nice reversals, nice double leg in the 4th round. But yeah, I mean, overall, like kind of a little bit of a lackluster fight, and but it happens. It's the way the game works, and he's obviously has a big weight cut. He's fought a lot in the past year, so things happen that are, affect the result of the fight.
Is there any part of you while watching that saying to yourself, like, man, that should have been me? I should have done that to him?
A little bit. I think that, I look at my fight and there's tons of mistakes that I made of things that I would do differently if I could go back. But I didn't know that going in, so I needed to learn those lessons. And you can't change it, but you can learn from it. So yeah, I mean, that was a great example to learn from. I feel like a lot of fights lately have been great examples for me. That being one of them, Khamzat versus Trickus being one of them. So there's a lot of fights that I always try to learn as much as I can. Whether it's myself in there or other people.
What did you learn from Khamzat Trickus?
I think wrestling works.
Yeah. So
it's effective. It's effective. I think that, if you're going to be a world champion, you probably should know how to wrestle.
We did have Chael on not that long ago, and he predicted that Bo Nickal versus Khamzat would be on the White House card. What do you think? Is that possible?
Maybe. I don't know. I got to win some fights. So, he's the champ. He's number one, and I'm not even in the rankings. So, I got to win some fights, and we'll see.
Do you concede that perhaps you were a bit wrong on Khamzat in some of the comments that you made about him would suggest that you thought you were going to ragdoll him and all this stuff? Do you concede that, or do you still feel the same way?
Well, all the comments that I made about ragdolling him were in a wrestling match. I still feel like, we're to do a freestyle or collegiate style wrestling match. It's not competitive. It's not close. And, a lot of the comments that get taken out of context, it's like, I don't know how you can really argue with that. I'm a 3-time national champ, world champion, beat the best guys in the world. So I don't feel like I would take any of that back. But I've always said in an MMA fight, that's a dog fight. That's an absolute scrap war. And so I feel like, me and him would be a great matchup. I don't know what his plans are, if he's going to go to 205, go to 70, who he's going to fight, like what's his situation. But all I know is I'm focused on Rodolfo Vieira, November 15th, and then we'll move from there. But at this point, it's like, I mean, I'm motivated and I'm excited and I want to get better and improve, but there's a long way to go before we get there.
And maybe given what happened in May, you're not fighting for the belt next summer. But I would imagine, given your relationship with the president, given your feelings towards the country, that White House card has to be something that, like, you want to win a couple fights, maybe just one or maybe two, before we get to June, and you're in strong consideration for that fight card, right? That has to be a big deal for you, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm planning on being on that card. That's history. That's exciting. Yeah. That's something that I feel like I would just be absolutely ecstatic and grateful to be a part of. So, I got to take care of business. And I mean, I've talked with President Trump. He wants me on the card. So I'm sure that if things line up, we'll make it happen.
You're actually talking to the president about your involvement on this card. Is he reaching out to you saying, hey, is he matchmaking the card? How's that going?
No. So what ended up happening, I was on Fox promoting the RAF event, and he's, obviously watches that. I was on Fox and Friends, and he called me up and, sent me some encouragement, and we talked about the card for a second, but I told him that, I wanted to get on it, and he said, done deal. So I'm sure, him and Dana are obviously very close. He puts a good word in with on my behalf, then it's probably putting me in a good position.
So you're on Fox, and he's just watching and casually just calls you up. You didn't hit him up first.
Yep.
I guess that, like friends call each other up. I guess it's not that big a deal anymore.
Right.
Is he coming to the fight on November 15th at MSG?
We'll see.
Okay.
He loves the fights, and he loves, the environment, and the UFC loves him. So we'll see.
Seems like a good.
Are you coming?
No, I'm not coming. I'm not coming.
Wow. I thought for a second you were in there.
No.
You're back though, right? I thought you were back.
I don't know what back means. I don't know if I ever left, but are you referring to the Logan clip with Dana?
No, I didn't see that.
Okay.
But, I just heard through the grapevine that
you know something I don't? You know something I don't? You got breaking news?
Dude, I'm so not on social right now that I don't know anything, but that's just as all hearsay.
It's for the best. It's for the best.
My social media now, the last 5 months has been go to the gym and fighters, teammates, coaches ask me if I saw what happened.
That's it.
That's it.
Do you feel better? Do you feel better for it?
I feel better. I feel good. It's fun to like get news straight from people and not like see it online first.
Yeah.
So I kind of like, it's kind of refreshing and enjoyable. And I feel like I don't worry about stuff, you know, I just like, somebody tells me something crazy that happened and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You know, like it's kind of a cool feeling. I guess that's how people always felt back.
The old fashioned way, right?
Yeah. Before cell phones and all that, it was like you got news from other people.
Did you feel like you needed that break?
Yeah, I definitely needed it. It was like, it was a lot, you know. And you know, not just like, it wasn't like, oh, I was just put in the situation where it was a lot. It was also like I did it to myself. So, you know, I'm not complaining about it, but I did want to make adjustments.
How does it end on November 15th? What are you feeling? What are you sensing? I feel like we got a y'all must have forgot moment. A y'all must have forgot.
We'll see. I'm pumped. I'm fired up. Let's just put it that way.
All right. In the meantime, we'll see you this Saturday, October 25th, RAF 202, as they're referring to it as, at Penn State, Bryce Jordan Center. Believe the action begins at 7 p.m. Eastern on Fox Nation. And looking at the lineup here, as you mentioned, the likes of Pat Downey and Kyle Dakes on there, I do believe. Roman Bravo Young, another guy who's got a great background, and there's a nice mix of, you know, people that we know from the world of wrestling. Holly Holm showed up at the last one as a surprise competitor, so who knows what they have in store for us. I enjoyed the first one a lot, looking forward to this one, and I think it's great that you're on the call as well. So good luck to you, Bo. Thanks as always for the time, and of course, good luck on November 15th. Can't wait for the return.
Thanks, Ariel. Appreciate you having me on.
You're the man. There he is, the great Bo Nickal, returning to action at Madison Square Garden. Tapology says third. Are they usually right? I don't know. Do they get the bout order? I don't know. And I'm hearing, by the way, that RAF, they're talking to some big names. I'm hearing that they're talking to some big recognizable names. So stay tuned for all of that. Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up, leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.